Welcome to Copperhead Road Homestead. It's a sunny day today, a little chilly outside, but it's not too bad. I got something I want to show you. If you'll walk over here with me, then we'll get these pigs moved. Thanks for coming. It's a little windy, so I'm sorry if there's a little bit of wind noise on the mic. I've got my supplies gathered. If you haven't went back or haven't already seen my video about our electric charger, our fence charger, I don't do a solar charger like some individuals do, and I think that's great that they do that, but we have a little bit of infrastructure here. So we have the 200-mile charger, and then we have some fence around the farm, and I've got some fence up here where the pigs are that I can jump it from one to the other, so I've got plenty of fence to go from one to the other. I've also got some posts that I drive where I need to, and I'll show you those as we go. And on the post I've put 1.5 PVC so I can just wrap it around there and don't have to worry about insulators, and I've got them marked about where I want them, and I'll show you that in a second as well. But I've also got this wire. I got a couple rolls. I think I only bought one roll, and then I found some other, or I had some on the farm, or we acquired it some way or another. Didn't steal it. Anyway, I've got this electric netting, or this wire that's like poly wire, so it's a whole lot more movable and flexible than the regular wire that's just bare wire. So this works pretty well for me, and I'll set my camera up and show you some of what we're doing. Oh yeah, before I start, one of the first things that I do is I turn my fence off. And one of the hacks that we have here on the farm that's worked pretty well for us, we've been doing for some time, is we have the fence charger on one of those smart plugs. So all I've got to do is get my phone out and I scroll to the app that I need. It's called Smart Life. I think you can use other apps to control some of these as well. And then I go to the correct button, the correct outlet. Just turn that off, and then it's off. So then I can work with the electric fence over here without being shocked, and I can put it where I want it. Always makes me nervous to touch it, even whenever I have used the app. So sometimes I'm a little gun shy at first, but now it's completely off. And I just tie a regular knot, like a square knot. That's left over right, right over left, and get that on this the way I want it. And then I just move it to where I want to. Okay, so I've got it back here where I started. This is where I tied it off to begin with, right here. And I just tied a square knot, like I said there, and I wrapped it around one of the posts at the corner and the other corner. So there's 3 corners here. I've got 1 corner left, but I've got a gate as well. I'll show you my gate when we get done. So I'm just gonna cut it off here, and I've cut it several times. I just splice it together every time. That's probably not the best. It probably doesn't make the wire last as long, but I'm just going to cut it and tie it right back here. And then after I'm done, I'm gonna take these things. Got that stuck in the ground good. I got those from Tractor Supply. That's where I got this as well. And they've got little notches, if you can see that. This goes in the ground. I can drive it with my foot. That's really handy. It's the Premier one that I've been using before that, which is really great as well. It doesn't have the stakes for me to drive it in the ground with my foot. So sometimes I had to use a mallet because the ground here was quite hard. But I can drive this in the ground with my foot, and then I can go along after I'm done, put these strategically, maybe 2 or 3 each side, just to avoid some of the little hilly spots. And then put one down here at the lowest section because we've got some small pigs, and then one up here because we've got Henry. But they probably would stay in with just one after they've been trained to it, and I might eventually just go with 1 wire, but this is what I do. After I brought you over here, I had to go back to the house, and I had to get my pocket knife. The pants that I'm in don't have appropriate pockets for it, so carry your pocket knife, and I just use it, and I cut it. I make sure to cut it a little long to make sure I have plenty of slack to do it with. So I cut it, and then I tie it. And whenever I tie it, I try to pull it pretty tight as well. I've got it tied just a little tight here, or high, but that's to avoid the other wires that I've got that I'm going to take off after I'm done. And I can put one of these doohickeys, whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called right now. Actually, I can go ahead and take this since I've got a little bit of slack, and I can tie it to my cable right here. So I've got it jumped already to the wire. So here's it jumped. Here's the infrastructure, this wire. I don't know if you can see it very well in the camera, but here's the infrastructure that I have here. It's gonna stay here. This field over here, it belongs to us, but we have we can't manage everything at once. We're trying to do slowly. That's one of the things that we've learned. You just have to start. If you want to do some of these things, just start. But do a little bit every day, do a little bit at a time, and pretty soon it'll grow. And we'll probably be using all of this, 150, 160 acres. What'll probably end up being close to, 130 acres or so, because we're going to sell about 20 acres of it in order to help pay for and get rid of the mortgage here. But if you just do a little bit at a time, you can start building your soil up. That's what we believe in. A lot of people who do permaculture, and I think the life is in the soil. We rotate these pigs. They're adding to the soil. If I keep them here too long, they're going to take away from the soil. But as I rotate them, then it's going to be really great for that, because they're going to leave behind fertilizer. They're going to stir that stuff up. They're going to get rid of things that I don't want, and then I can use this area again for that, or I can move them away from it and have garden beds or whatever I want here. But I tied it, went around, kept it tight, and then cut it off, and I tied it right back here. So I've got 2 of the 4 sides done, and then I've just got to do the other sides. I've got it jumped right here as well. I'm about to do the second section. As I said, I went back and I put these things to keep them up. Do you see these things right here? Wait, let me point. Yes, right there. These things. I went and put them up on some of where I did. Got to put a couple more. I'll show you that in just a moment. I want to show you one other thing very quickly. Right here, you might have noticed as I've been walking over here all these times. This is where I've had some of the other pigs in that Premier 1 netting, and probably kept them there just a little bit too long. What you want from soil, for a healthy soil, one of the things that I've seen before is you want soil that's very porous. This soil is holding water. It's a very clay soil right here. I'm trying to build it up, and the pigs are going to help me with that. But this is one of those areas that if you leave pigs too long, it'll make it worse instead of better. But that's how you learn. And I don't think I damaged it too much by leaving them here, but we had a whole lot of rain whenever we had them here. Now I've got them here in this big section. They were in kind of just one of those Premier 1 nettings, and this area that I'm making now is much larger. Again, the Premier 1 is great. If you have that, that's wonderful, especially if you only have it for a couple of pigs, but you've got it for all of these pigs over here that I've got, and there's more that's not in this frame, then that might be a little bit too small for them. So that's one reason I'm doing this instead of the other. So now this area behind me where I just stretched it, again, I'm gonna take these right here and I'll show you one of them, and then I'll just do the rest of them. And I'm gonna put them in. I'm trying to just keep it off the ground because it'll short if it's on the ground, and it won't be quite as hot for the pigs. But I'm gonna keep it off the ground, and I'm gonna try to take up some of that slack that I put in there because I didn't pull it quite as tight. But I'll get all that stuff done, and then I'll show you the last thing that I do before I let the pigs in. I put it on the inside because I'm trying to pull it out. So that way the pressure is on the pole rather than these little pegs. So as I put the pressure, this is a lesson I've learned. You learn from my mistakes. I had it the opposite way and would pull on these things, and a few of them broke. So this way the pressure's on the pole, and then these are just holding it in place, these little notches that I'm putting them in there. You see that? I put it on the inside. So whichever way you want to pull it. So if you want to pull it in, then you put it on the out and push it in. So wherever the pressure is on, put it on the pole and not on these little doodads. So if you're in an area that's not completely level, and most of us aren't blessed with completely level land. I don't know if I want completely level land, unless that's what I had. If I had completely level land, that's what I'd want, because I love it here. I think you need to love the place where you're at, make that place your mission field, and improve the soil where you are. Anyway, right here, there's an old dip. When we had this place surveyed, he said this was an old road that people used to drive on, but this is the place where the pigs would be able to get out. So the fence, you can't see, stand by. There you go. So the fence right here, you see it? It's a little high. Here's the ground, here's the fence. That's a little higher than the rest. So I'm gonna take one of these doodads, and I'm gonna push it in the ground right here in the center of this dip. And I'm gonna push it in there. So that doodad will hold it in. This doodad will hold that one in. And then we've got it level again. I've got to put one or two more here because there's a couple places it's low, so I've got a couple more of these. And then again, that's when I'll show you. That's when I'll show you the last step after I do these last two things in. But watch for your if you're doing it like this and you've got these doodads like this. If you know what these doodads are called, comment below and tell me. If you like this kind of thing, comment below and tell me. If you haven't done this but want to try it, I think the whole thing, especially if I wasn't videoing it takes me a little extra time to video it and show you. That's okay, I love doing that. I think maybe you can learn something from me, especially that little hack about putting your fence charger on a smart plug. But if you can learn something, then that's great. It's probably worth my time. And if you did learn something, then share it and let people know, subscribe, do all that doodad jazz stuff. But I've got one more thing to do, then I can turn the fence back on and let the pigs in here, or let the pigs in here and turn the fence on, whichever order. But it's fast because I can do my phone, use it with my phone. I'm over here. Last thing that I do before I turn the fence on and try to let the pigs in here is I take this gate down. So this is just a wire too. Each one of these paddocks takes 6 posts and 6 of these PVC things that I've showed you already. That I slide 1.5 inch PVC, and I just slide it over the posts, so then I don't have to put insulators on there, and they're strong as the posts are. Anyway, each of them takes 6, but I can use 3 of the ones from the previous paddock. So I've got to have 9 posts and 9 PVC. I use about 2 foot or so, maybe 2.5 foot long. So next time, in order to get them ready, I already had it done this time. In order to get it ready, I'll drive 3 posts and put this on there, and then it'll be ready for me to just put the wiring and the netting on there. But the pigs don't want to come in because they're used to where the line is until they see that this isn't here. So unless you have some kind of physical gate, so even if I took this line down, it would take them a while to cross this because they're used to it. But what I'll do whenever I feed them a little later, and I'll video that for you so you can see it, is I'll put the feed right here, and they'll come and follow the feed, and I'll put it right here and spread it in this new area, and then they'll come into their new paddock. But until then, I won't take this old paddock down. And in order to take the old paddock down, all I got to do is just untie the old netting, and then just wind it back up with that roller that you saw me unrolling it from here. So very easy. It does take a little bit of time. I think it's better for the ground this way. I can rotate them. I can also have that ground free for wildlife, for other things. If I want to put a garden in there, if I want to grow things, if I just want to walk through it, so I don't have to leave the fencing up every time, so I can move it around. I may eventually have some permanent paddocks that I have that there's like 6 or 8 or 9 or something like that I rotate them through. But this way works for now, and for the foreseeable future, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe it'll work for you as well. Again, start to finish, if I just put my nose to the grindstone and do it, it may take me 30-45 minutes to do once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, depending on how they eat and how much I feed them, the time of year, how much food's on the ground, and how many pigs I have at the time. I've got a few more than I need right now. I'll probably end up slaughtering some of those. I'll tell you about that whenever I do it. But I take this down. This is the one that I have, and I'll put it on my old gate, and I'll show you that in just a moment, or my new gate rather. And then whenever I take this down on my the other one where the other gate is, I'll put it right here, so then they'll be in this area after all the pigs are in here and acclimated to it. I'll show you what I'm doing. It's simple. All I do is just untie it, roll it up, and carry it to the next spot. So I'm just going to take this right over there, so there's no need to coil it up or anything. I've got it right here, and now the pigs can come in here as they want to. They won't for a while, most likely, since I don't have any food to lure them in here. But when they do, then they'll have all of this new area to work with, and I'll just kind of show you a bit of the difference, because this looked pretty much just like where I'm putting them now. This did look like that, so I can show you the difference. And then I'll show you when I move them next time, and you can compare the footage between the 2 videos at that time if you like. I was going to show you me luring them in here, but Henry came in. But Henry came in before I could get a chance to show you. So they saw the empty gate, or they saw the open gate, and he just came in. But I'm going to try to lure some of these other pigs over here. You just watch. Piggy, 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 piggy. Piggy, 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 piggy. So I was going to try to get them all in there. There's still just a few of the Cooney mix that I have. I've got some Cooney mix that didn't come in because there's this one pig over here kind of guarding the gate. They might yet come in. I was going to try to get them all over here and get this other fence taken down, but it hasn't happened yet. Maybe I'll get in there and try to shoo them over here. No. Yes. That's right. This little fat one escaped. I like this one. This one's named Pippi. It's a Cooney mix. Not sure how much Cooney. I think she's a little less than half, but she looks the most Cooney out of all of them. Can you see how fat her face is? She's the same fatness or fatter than all of them, eating the same thing the rest of them eat. So they say Coonies can get fat on grass. But I had to chase her a second ago. But they're all in here now, so it worked. The last step is to take up the old, and I just use this reel. It seems to work pretty well. And what I like to do is to go first and take it out of those little doodads that keep it up off the ground. I forget what they're called. If you remember what they're called, comment below and tell me. But anyway, I like to take them off of that, and then I just untie it from both ends and I just reel it up.